Welcome to Fun and Games Side Quests. Every episode is a different host sharing a video game they love and why they love it.
Hello, welcome to Side Quests. My name is Daniel Sanford and I'll be your host today. I'm a musician and a podcast producer. I work with prior Side Quest host Jonathan Holmes on a bi-monthly interview show called Talking to Women About Video Games, where I'm the producer and resident composer, making custom theme songs for every single guest that we have on the show. I also contributed music to the soundtrack of Double Dragon Gaiden under my musician name, Douibyorthst. Additionally, I've released a few albums of dance music on my Bandcamp and Spotify page, and I'm probably most famous for doing a remix of Hank Hill asking if he looks like he knows what a JPEG is and demanding that he receives a picture of a goddamn hot dog. A few years ago on TikTok, it was incredibly viral to get yourself dressed up as a hot dog and dance around to the song that I made. Don't ask me why. But that's it for my plugs. Today I'm going to talk about WarioWare Smooth Moves for the Nintendo Wii. So let's rewind all the way back to November 19th, 2006, the launch day of the Nintendo Wii. At this point in my life, I was a recent college graduate, and I had not played really that many video games all during college. You know, I would play the occasional Guitar Hero or old throwback games, Tecmo Bowl, Ninja Gaiden, stuff like that. Just, for fun at a friend's house, but never really too dedicated to playing games on my own at my own house. Honestly, I didn't have time for it. I was studying, trying to finish college, and just no way that I was going to have any time to play any video games. And I truly took off basically half a console generation. I did have a PS2 when I was in high school, but I just kind of put it away. I think I even sold all my games because I was just like, I don't have time for this. I can't play games anymore. So back to November 19th. I recall actually driving by a line for people trying to buy a new Wii on that day. And I was confused. I was like, why are people lining up to buy any game console? I just didn't understand it. I had always grown up and, on Christmas we would get, a console maybe if we were lucky. And I just never even knew that people did this. But as I drove by this line, I did kind of roll down my window and shout out at them, "What's up, Wii kids?" I only meant it mildly derogatorily. So fast forward a couple of weeks, I'm at a friend's house and he's got Wii Sports. And I'm like, okay, I guess I should check this out. And I kind of fall in love with the concept of the motion controls because, like I said, I grew up as a kid playing games, Nintendo through to, PS2. And I just, in addition to not having time for them, I was, mildly burnt out on them. And so I was like, okay, well, this is going to kind of actually be the thing that draws me back in is the motion controls. So I would have actually been, smarter to have been the person lining up in line for a Wii. And as they say, I just didn't know what I didn't know. Because at least to my recollection, the Christmas season of 2006 was just impossible to find a Nintendo Wii. You couldn't find them anywhere. I don't think I ended up even getting one until a little bit later, either January or February the following year, just because they were just completely unavailable. What ended up happening was me and my roommates actually pooled our money to get a bootleg bundle off of eBay, which included the Wii and tons of controllers and games, and it actually ended up costing almost twice what the Wii cost out of the box. But we justified it saying, okay, well, we got all these controllers and games, and some of them were Wavebird controllers for the GameCube, so I was like, it kind of makes sense. It's a little pricey, but let's give it a shot. And one of those games packed in was actually WarioWare Smooth Moves. I had never played a WarioWare game at all before this point, so this was my first introduction to the series, and I didn't know what to expect, but just the pure chaotic nature of the game absolutely drew me in. If you've never played it, it is a series of micro games, is what they call them. Often they take place within 3 seconds or 5 seconds, and you really just have minimal amount of time to figure out even what the objective is and accomplish it. And if you do it, then you are safe. You get through a number of these micro games in a certain section, and then you'll advance to the next section. It's pretty straightforward, and then there's also typically boss encounters at the end of most sections. Often the microgames are pretty humorous as well, typically involving a little bit of bathroom humor from Wario himself, a lot of farts, a lot of nose picking, and etc. But the other thing that was really great about WarioWare Smooth Moves was the multiplayer aspect. I'm not typically that big of a multiplayer person. I do tend to focus on single player games, but the party game aspect of this game and other games, kind of like Guitar Hero, were pretty revolutionary to me at the time. And so it was just really fascinating to get together with your friends and play a game. And the fact that this one was so friendly for pick up and play made it just all the better. You could be with people who have played the game for tons and tons of hours, or people who have never even held a video game controller. And, everybody's kind of on equal playing field, which was nice. Another cool thing was it became kind of the go-to game for me and my roommates at the time. Or if you were having a bigger gathering, you could play an option that expanded it to 12 simultaneous people in a game, which is great. It often devolves into pure anarchy and chaos, and it's just a lot of fun to, kind of be with your friends. And often there's a lot of shouting and possibly some drinks happening. And, it's just a big party atmosphere game that is really, a lot of fun. I really like the humor in the game, and the music is really catchy. A lot of the characters are really fun. And one of the best aspects is when it shows how to use the Wii remote in different ways. The announcer will come on with the most dry voice as a pure contrast to everything else you've seen in the game so far. And it just is like, it just hits you dead in your tracks with just a complete different gear that this game has all along, which is amazing. My favorite multiplayer mode was the mode called Lifeline, but my friend group called it Cut the Rope because, we can't remember the name of anything. Basically, it would be up to 5 players that would be running towards the camera, and you'd perform mini games, scoring different points based on how well you did. At the end, if you scored the most points, you have the most ropes when you're tied up above a pit of alligators. Everybody then takes turns cutting the ropes to find out who is the actual winner. So you could actually do very bad at the microgames, but still come out on top, which was great. And also weirdly included in the game, I don't know why, was just a exact replica of the game of darts. I think I read that it was supposed to be in Wii Sports or maybe Wii Play, but it made its way over to WarioWare, and it's just a really solid darts game. So WarioWare Smooth Moves was kind of my go-to game for Wii for a while, and there was a period where a lot of people just had Wiis out and on at like parties. They'd have typically Wii Sports. You'd see that at like, retirement communities, or you'd see it at like a kid's birthday. Just they've got the Wii set up ready to go in case anybody wants to play tennis or bowling or whatever. And I'd be like, hey, how about WarioWare? Huh? How about that? And one time I actually did convince the host of like a pre-wedding stock the bar type of party to switch the game over to WarioWare Smooth Moves to my benefit, but everybody else at the party was like, why are we doing this? And I did kind of dominate the game, and everybody got mad at me. But, that's how it goes sometimes. As for the rest of the games in the WarioWare series, I never went backward to the older games. I did skip the 2 on DS and actually jumped ahead to Game & Wario on Wii U. And I was a bit disappointed that one didn't have enough games in it, enough modes. I mean, there was a little bit of stuff in there, but it was just like a very, very sparse offering, which was, the unfortunate nature of the Wii U. I also skipped WarioWare Gold on 3DS, but I did jump ahead to WarioWare Get It Together and Move It on the Switch. Get It Together is a lot of fun too. I won't talk about it too long, but the more direct sequel, Move It, it just felt like, to me, wow, we finally are back. I've only played it a little bit, and it does make me long for the days of being able to play multiplayer games with such fluidity that you could just be like, hey, you want to come pick this up and play? And people would be like, hell yeah. Maybe I'll get together with some friends for some WarioWare Move It sometime soon. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for me. I mean, I would say that this game, WarioWare, along with, like I said, Wii Sports, kind of got me back into gaming, and to some extent, is indirectly responsible for my interest in video games, which then led to my work on Talking to Women About Video Games. And now I'm kind of opening the door to being a podcast producer and a, musician that works on video games. So, I do have a very fond spot in my heart for WarioWare Smooth Moves. And if you do find a Wii somewhere and the copy of this game, definitely check it out. The waggle aspect of the Wii, I feel like, is a bit over-reported. I mean, a lot of people complained about it at the time, but it works in this game. I mean, it works for me. Well, that's it for me. Happy gaming.
Hey there, Screen Beans. Have you heard about Screen Snark?
Rachel, this is an ad break. They aren't Screen Beans until they listen to the show.
Fine. Potential Screen Beans. You like movies and TV shows, right?
I mean, who doesn't? Screen Snark is a casual conversation about the movies and television shows that are shaping us as we live our everyday lives.
That's right, Matt. We have a chat with at least one incredible guest every episode, hailing from all walks. We've interviewed chefs,
Writers, costumers, musicians,
yoga teachers, comedians, burlesque dancers,
folks in the film and TV industry,
and more.
We'd be delighted for you to join us every other Monday on the Certain POV Podcast Network.
Or wherever you get your podcasts, fresh and tasty off the presses.
What? That's not...
Can I call them Screen Beans now?
Fine.
Screen Beans!
So tune in and we'll see you at the movies or on a couch somewhere.
'Cause you're a whole Screen Beans now.
She will be mine. Aurora.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.